and go beyond the headlines. For informed analysis of major political stories across Africa's most populous country, Nigeria, I am Olajumoke Olatunji. As the race to the 10th National Assembly intensifies, the APC National Working Committee has nominated Godswill Akpabio for Senate President and Abbas Tajudeen as Speaker for House of Representatives after considering reports of consultations and meetings. On the interview segment, we focus on the 2023 inauguration and matters arising with a development economist and a member of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, Ayobami Oyalowo, as our guest. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Let's bring you some stories. The National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress APC has considered reports of consultations and meetings held with the President-elect Bola Tinubu, other party leaders on zoning arrangements for 10th National Assembly leadership positions. The NWC noted with respect the outcome of the meetings held between the President-elect and the leadership of the APC. The NWC called for further with necessary stakeholders in order to assure the support of the aspirants to the National Assembly leadership positions and members of the party nationwide. The zoning arrangement reported to the NWC is as follows. Senate President, South-South, Senator Godswill Akpabio, Akwa Ibom. Deputy Senate President, Northwest, Senator Barao Jibril from Kano State. House of Representatives now, for the Speaker, House of Representatives, Northwest, Honorable Abbas Tajudeen from Kaduna State. Ahead of the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly, Governor David Umahi and Senator Ali Ndume have endorsed former Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Godswill Akpabio, for the position of the President of the Senate. Addressing the press at the end of a strategic meeting attended by some of the senators-elect in Abuja, the two lawmakers who were in the race for the position said their decision is in respect to the request made by the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu. At another meeting, first-time senators say they are working towards endorsing a credible candidate for the position of the President of the Senate of the 10th National Assembly.
For my brother, Senator Akpabio, he's my consensus candidate.
Yeah, that's good.
I also stepped down for him as
the Deputy Senate President.
So I stepped down to for two of them.
You can see I'm leading the campaign for Akpabio because he is the President's preferred candidate, and we have to put the interest of the country, the party, above any other interest.
Various aspirants for the office of the Senate Presidency and Deputy Senate Presidency will come and address us as to their agenda and what they have for the 10th Senate, whether they are going to jealously guard and protect the independence of the legislature as enshrined in the Constitution, and how they intend to run the affairs of the Senate by the time it is concluded.
It's a forum of senators-elect across party line. So it will be wrong for me to say everybody here has endorsed the candidature of Senator Akpabio and Senator Barao Jibril. They have come here tonight to address us, to seek for our support. They've told us why they need our support and why they want to lead the 10th Assembly. We are also expecting other aspirants to come and address us. We will give them the opportunity.
The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal has commenced its pre-hearing session at the Court of Appeal in Abuja. The 5-member panel is headed by Justice Haruna Samani. In his inaugural speech, Justice Samani pledged commitment of the panel to doing justice to the case and advised lawyers against making sensational comments. He noted that the cooperation of lawyers is needed as election petitions are time-bound. Judiciary correspondent Celestina Iria reports.
Security tight. Shehu Shagari Way leading to the court was cordoned off by security personnel. The pre-hearing session commenced with Justice Haruna Samani introducing the members of the panel. Justice Stephen Ada of the Abuja Division, Mesitura Bolaji Yusuf, Asaba Division, Moses Ugo, Kano Division, and Abba Mohammed, Ibadan Division. Chairman of the panel, Justice Samani, urges counsel to be wary of unnecessary applications that would waste the time of the court. He believes everyone will be satisfied with the verdict at the end of the case. The first petition taken was that of Action Alliance, AA, and its presidential candidates. The president-elect, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, All Progressives Congress, APC, and Hamza El Mustafa were listed as respondents. Other petitions also taken today were that of Action People's Party, AP, followed by that of Peter Obi and the Labour Party, with the president-elect and APC as the respondents. The tribunal adjourned to tomorrow to take petitions filed by the Allied People's Movement, APM, and that of Atiku Abubakar, and the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal now has 4 petitions before it after the Action Alliance withdrew its petition. In today's pre-hearing section, the tribunal took 2 petitions, that of Labour Party and APP.
The court committed itself to cooperate and ensure that these petitions are expeditiously dealt with. And on our part, all the lawyers for all the parties also committed themselves to cooperating with the tribunal, the court, to make sure that these matters are dealt with urgently because of their national importance.
Will impact on Nigeria's electoral jurisprudence, judicialism, and constitutionalism. It's very, very important that this is made known, because one way or the other, I do not think that it will be business as usual as far as Nigeria's electoral.
Counsel to the APC, Lateef Fagbemi, noted that preliminary objection has been filed to these petitions. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, let's take a break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with our guest of the day, who is a development economist and a member of the defunct APC Presidential Campaign Council, Ayobami Oyalowo, for discussion on the 2023 inauguration and matters arising. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I am joined by a development economist and a member of the defunct APC Presidential Campaign Council, Ayobami Oyalowo. We will be discussing the 2023 inauguration and matters arising. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, Mr. Oyalowo.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, and good evening, Nigerians.
All right, so before we get to business, let me congratulate you on attaining the age of 50. I know it was your birthday some weeks ago. Congratulations once again to you.
Yeah, thank you so very much. I appreciate that.
Starting with the countdown to the inauguration of a new government, which is just 21 days away. I mean, the reality is here, and we can't just but continue to talk about the momentum ahead of this remarkable day. So, how do you describe the mood in the country now?
It's a great time to be alive. It's another wonderful time to be a Nigerian. The beauty of what has happened is that for the first time in the history of this current practice of democracy since we returned in 1999, we're going to be having a president who is actually prepared to be a president. We're going to have a president who prepared, who was ready, who has planned and has mapped out strategies to actually become a president. So we've had a lot of accidental presidents, from the one that was foisted, from the one that because somebody died they had to get in, from all manner of president, the one that was brought in from jail who really didn't have a plan. So for the first time we're going to have a president who was really, really prepared to be a president, who is prepared for one, someone who had been a governor, someone who had been a leader, who had been a mentor to a lot of leaders today that we have in Nigeria. So it's an exciting time because I think it's a good time for Nigeria, especially looking at what the world is going through, what Nigeria is going through. We've seen what is going on in Europe and in America in terms of the realignment of power. We are seeing what has happened in terms of the Ukraine war after the post-COVID experience. The economic realignment and rearmament is such that it's an opportunity for Nigeria now to key in and truly become a global leader, not just an African leader, but a global leader, a global player in both the political and economic power of the world. So clearly, I think it's a great time, and we are well positioned because for the first time we're having an arrowhead who has both the local and international contact, who has both the economic and political know-how. So it's a great time for Nigeria. Sincerely, anyone who is educated, who understands what is going on in the world, will know that an Asiwaju presidency will herald another a great time, what you can call a renaissance for Nigeria. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure most other people are looking forward to it because we're going to be having a president who we believe will help to position Nigeria as a global power to be able to compete, because the world is moving to a new era and we cannot be left behind. And an Asiwaju presidency is clearly a presidency that will be able to move Nigeria into that space where we can begin to sit with the world power, where we can begin to sit and make our own demands and be respected for what we are, not just a giant of Africa, but a giant indeed all over the world.
Right. So now that attention has inevitably shifted to Inauguration Day on May 29, how will you describe the expectations of Nigerians?
Well, the inauguration is to be taking place, I think, in about 21 days from now, in about 20 days from now. So Nigerians from all walk of life are getting ready. In fact, yesterday, somebody contacted me that a group of Nigerians want because I wore that Asiwaju cap and it went viral, the picture went viral, and somebody contacted me that they need a number of it. I had to contact my tailor for them and put them together to be able to speak with each other. So people are getting ready. Another person contacted me yesterday. Ayo, please, is there an Ashwebi for us to be worn on that day at the Eagle Square? So people are getting ready. People are excited because everyone knows that it's an exciting time. Everyone is looking forward to a reordering of the power that be in Nigeria. And I must say the current federal government has done its best. They have put in a committee that is planning for the inauguration, and I think the details are there for everyone to see. So people want to be a part of what is going on. At least I know a huge number of people who have contacted me. Ayo, please help us to get card. We want to travel down from so and so. People want to come in from Lagos, from Ibadan, from everywhere, and they are waiting to get the card to be able to get into Eagle Square. So it is an exciting time. It is a time that people look forward to. And I believe that God will give us that day. There will be no rainfall. We'll have a clement weather so that we can all sit down in Eagle Square and enjoy the display and the military parade that will follow on that day. So we are looking forward to it. And a lot of Nigerians that I'm aware of are also looking forward to that day of inauguration, where we'll have the current president, Muhammadu Buhari, pass back into the incoming president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right, Mr. Oyalowo, I mean, agreeably, some Nigerians are still miffed about the outcome of the presidential election. You know, today was just the inaugural takeoff of the presidential election petitions tribunal. What do you have to say to such people?
You always have people who don't agree with what happens. It's a contest that any reasonable person going into a contest always is aware that two things are going to happen. One person will win, other people will lose, and the winner has emerged. Now, you also have two options. The first option is to congratulate the winner and pledge your loyalty to work together with the winner, or you decide not to agree and then you go to court. So those who have refused to accept the winning, the winning candidate have all the right to go to court, and they are exercising their right, and that is what Democrats should do. So going to court, it's a way of exercising your democratic right. However, just today, some party also pulled out of the legal issue, saying they have come to realize that, look, this man won and we're going to support it. So it's a mixed bag. Some will not agree, some will agree. The ones who have agreed will work with the winner and all, because on the long run, what do we all want? We want a Nigeria that works for everybody. So for those who have decided to work with the incoming president, we welcome them, we're happy with them. And for those who don't want to, who want to remain in court until they finally have made up their mind to, they finally have been cleared by the judiciary that they lost the election square and fair. I'm sure by the time the legal works starts, or the legal fireworks rather starts, their eyes will be open to the fact that they didn't win, and then they will come back to either support the president or go and start getting ready for another election. It is all their fundamental human right. However, we in the APC and we who support Asiwaju are not perturbed because we know we won the election fair and square. I dare say this is the most credible election we've had since 1999, because for the first time, you can't sit in the corner of your room and write results, because the beavers will expose you for overvoting. I've had a few people deliberately miseducate and misinform people that there should be no inauguration because there is a court case. And I think that is the most irresponsible thing to say. We will have the Supreme Court tomorrow, will issue or will give a ruling, a final ruling on what happened in Osun State. But the governor that won the election, or that was declared by INEC, is still sitting there. Nobody is saying he shouldn't have been sworn in. We've had several elections in Nigeria that were contested. The current president today, President Muhammadu Buhari, lost election 3 times. He was in court or to the Supreme Court for all those 3 periods. And we never had anybody saying the winner should not be inaugurated. So I don't know where people are coming with this irresponsible and very undemocratic statement that there should be no inauguration because some people thought they won election where they didn't even get 25% in up to 24 states. So it is
Mr. Oyalowo, now that you've gone there,
it is not a democratic thing at all.
All right, now that you've gone there, now part of the issues that have caused these grievances is INEC and some discrepancies on its part. Now, don't you think not posting results on INEC's result viewing portal hurts the credibility of the election?
It's just a viewing portal, for heaven's sake. It is not the result portal. It's just a viewing portal. It is because we have a viewing portal that people are even making this noise. We didn't have that in the past election. We know how the former president, Ayobami, was declared. We know the kind of results that brought him in. For the first time, we are having a winner who did not have 20-something million votes because we couldn't sit anywhere and write result. This result reflects the wishes of the voters on the field. See, let me explain something to you. Every serious political party during the election has what you call field agents in every polling unit. Every agent, because I was trained as an agent who trained other agents, every agent has the election result in each polling unit. Each of those results were moved to the ward unit, to the ward, from the ward to the local government to the state. So if anybody have issues with it, let them present such result instead of muddling up the waters for the sake of everything that is reasonable. The second person in the election had just 21 states where he made 25%. He's not even making as much mess as the one who came third, who had only 16 states. And I can begin to break down how those elections came. So if you cannot win election in the core northern state of Zamfara, of Kaduna, of Kano, of Gombe, in Katsina and all those places, you can't even come second there. And then you are going around saying you won election because you won in a regional, in your region and a few Christian states. I don't think that makes any sense. I don't think that is fair on the winner, because the winner clearly won the state where he won, and he made, for the first time, he didn't just make 25% in 24 states as required by law. He made 25% in 30 states as required by law. So his winning margin is uncontestable. That is why we are preparing for the inauguration. We don't fear anything. We know that our result is the authentic result. And let me also tell you something. Sometimes ago, the third person that I say has been making more noise is people came up with a plan to actually go through that same viewing portal, the IRF, and they were compiling the result. And when they started compiling, they started from their region, where I mean the third person's region. And when they compiled, they were winning there. They were all happy. But the moment they moved away from that region, they went to other places. It was glaring that Asiwaju won the election. They stopped the thing in the middle of the process themselves, checking from the viewing portal that they were making noise about. So see, let's stop disturbing ourselves. Honestly, I don't like talking about this issue because as far as I'm concerned, it is a dead issue. Asiwaju won election. Asiwaju will govern over Nigeria by the grace of the Almighty God for the next 4 years, and then we'll prepare for another election. So there is nothing to worry about for any reasonable people who have watched how things work. We will leave those who want to go to court to go to court. We'll leave those who want to continue to complain to continue to complain. But I can tell you one thing. Asiwaju will be the president for everybody. He will be fair to all. He will be kind to all. And he will usher to Nigerians the dividend of democracy, and we will all be beneficiaries by the grace of God.
All right, so for future purposes, Mr. Oyalowo, so you do not think that when the electoral umpire makes a promise, it has a duty to deliver on those promises?
The electoral umpire made a promise and said they don't have to view. But like I said, I don't really want to talk for INEC. I think an INEC officer or the head of INEC should be interviewed on this. But as for me, as for us, the election signifies or symbolizes what we had planned for. I was with the planning team a few days of the election, and when we looked at the result of what we expected, this election clearly mirrored what we thought was going to happen. And we saw it happen as we thought was going to happen. So, as for the umpire, he's in court to defend, or they are in court, that's INEC, they are in court to defend their action. I will rather not talk for them because I don't work for INEC. I have no business with INEC. My only business with it is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC. And if anybody have issue with the INEC, they can drag them to court or whatever. But for us, we won an election. We are happy we won. And like I said earlier on, Asiwaju will provide leadership for everybody. And I can assure you, every Nigerian will benefit from the good governance that Asiwaju will provide for Nigeria.
All right, so back to one of the issues we tried to talk about earlier, which is some Nigerians questioning the inauguration of a new president ahead of the conclusion of election petition. Now, don't you think they have a point?
They don't have any point. Like I say, it's very silly, jejune, and unintelligent to even say that. I just gave you an example of Osun State. With the APC, we were the sitting government before the election, and we lost. And we didn't tell them not to inaugurate the PDP-led government before the conclusion of the case. Like I also gave you an example of what happened under Yar'Adua when he won a very controversial election led by a very controversial Maurice Iwu. We all know the story that went behind that. We all know in fact, the winner even said he was ashamed of the election that brought him to power. And nobody said do not inaugurate him. Rather go to court and get it sorted. So why will this be the first time that anybody will say they should not inaugurate Asiwaju because there is a court case? If not because I'm on air, I have very choice languages to use for them. I will only hold myself because I'm on air. Because it does not make any sense to say don't inaugurate. So let me tell you, if you refuse to inaugurate the winner on the 29th, what will you do? You want to bring in the military? Or you want to do what exactly? Do you want to exist? Can Nigeria exist in a vacuum? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And if anybody thinks they have a case, they shouldn't be afraid. Just present your case, and if you win, we've had election overturned. And the winner, the initial winner who were in office have been removed. It happened in Osun. It happened in so many other states where a sitting government, we have in Ekiti, where sitting governors were removed and the new governors were declared by the Supreme Court and they went into the office. So if anybody thinks they have a genuine case, let them wait and win the election in court. We won the election free and fair.
All right.
And like I said, we have no fear of any court case. And if anybody thinks otherwise, then they should allow the natural system to take place. Any other thing aside from following the date as prescribed by law, what you are asking for is anarchy. And by the grace of God, we don't want anarchy in Nigeria. I don't think anybody should even be talking about stopping the inauguration before the court cases are concluded. What Nigeria should be saying is that we should have a window where court cases are dispensed with before the date that the handover should take place.
All right. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has made a lot of promises, and it is a fact that a lot of Nigerians are looking forward to that. You know, one of such promises is that we will take tough decisions in repositioning the country. What areas do you think he should focus on?
Well, I always say one person cannot solve all the problems of the world. And I will start with talking about his action when he was the governor of Lagos State. When he was the governor of Lagos State, he had a huge dream for Lagos. He ran with that vision. He got people around him to run with him on that vision. But he couldn't complete the journey. That is why when Governor Babatunde Fashola became governor, you remember his appellation was the actualizer. Many people don't remember that. Why was he called the actualizer? Because so many visions that Asiwaju could not conclude within 8 years, he began to actualize those dreams. So I will tell you what Asiwaju I think you should consider, but I'm only letting you understand that it's just 4 years. He can't solve all Nigerian problems in 4 years. But one thing Asiwaju is going to do is going to put in a template that will run for 4 years, and by the grace of God, if God give all of us life, for 8 years. Then whoever takes after him will be able to continue to actualize that vision. Now, that is to explain the kind of man Asiwaju is. Now, going into what he should do, one of the first things Asiwaju spoke about, if you listen to his acceptance speech, was his vision for the youth. We know we have a huge youth population. About 60 to 65% of our population is deemed to be between 18 to 35. And we also know that we have a huge youth unemployment pandemic. So he has said he will work for the Nigerian young people. And you see, many people didn't understand what he was talking about. And I'm going to break it down. When Asiwaju became governor of Lagos State, go back and check the records. Everyone who worked with him were young people. Today, all of them are leaders. Even the current governor of Lagos State is still in his 50s. So you can take back his age when he worked with Asiwaju, first as a special advisor, then to a commissioner. If you take that time away from his age, it tells you his age as at that time. So this is a man who has always had the vision of building young people. You remember Senator Akpabio said something about Asiwaju. He said he's a man who turned boys to men, and he wants to join him to turn boys to men. Asiwaju has a vision for Nigerian young people. And his vision for Nigerian young people is such that, one, they will become the biggest global player in terms of technology. In the tech world, he wants to help to build that capacity for our young people. And in education, he has said it clearly, he will ensure that we don't have ASU strike again. And with that, there will be autonomy for the universities. And if you are in the university and you cannot afford to pay the fee, he has promised that we're going to have a system where you can have student loan to enable the indigent and not too rich students to go to university. And also for the young people too. Many people still don't understand that the credit system that he intends to pursue is for young people. You see, one of the challenges of young Nigerians is that they want to live the life that their mates in other countries are living. You are a young man, you need a house, you need electronics in your house, you need cars, you need things. You can't afford them, but you have steady income. What will Asiwaju do to help you? He will ensure that there's a credit system where you don't have to throw the whole money or go and steal in your office or commit a crime so you can buy or purchase a car. Rather, you can purchase a car on credit. You pay over a period of time. You can purchase electronics, you can purchase household goods, you can even buy a house and you pay over a period of time. This is what developed countries do, how they are able to integrate their young people into the system, and you don't have to take 50, 100 million to go and buy a house. You don't have to take 10 million to go and buy a car. You just need to be able to. So first and foremost, It's going to help the young people to develop skills. It's going to help them in technology, and it's going to help them to be able to live a good life. Now, in the area of security, what many of us are not talking about is that security has improved greatly in Nigeria over the years because the outgoing government has helped in boosting the morale and equipping the military, the police, and everything. So what Asiwaju will do is to build on where we met, what he met on ground. And what Buhari met on ground, the outgoing government, is that we had two countries in a country. We have the Boko Haram country, then we have Nigeria country. Today we don't have Boko Haram country. What we have now is bandits and other things. And to a large extent, the bandits has been decimated. Of course, the news that heralded the bandit, they have pretended not to see that bandit activities have been greatly reduced. What I always tell people is that insecurity is a global phenomenon, and you will always have it morph from time to time. From we had terrorism to banditry to farmers issues and Fulani headmen that people started Fulani everywhere, even though most of it were not the truth. However, what has happened is that these things have been greatly reduced. But because it doesn't suit the narrative of those who were peddling it, they are not talking about it. So as Asiwaju has said, he's going to equip the army, the military like Buhari has been doing. He's going to build on it. And we are going to employ more. You remember this government, when they came in, that's the Buhari government, they promised to employ 10,000 police every year. I think they have been able to do it only twice. So, which means we are under-policed. So what's going to happen is you're going to have more police so that you can be able to police our communities more effectively. And then in terms of the economy, oh my God, this man has such plans for Nigeria economy that I'm sure I cannot start over it. So I'm going to just gloss over it tonight because I don't have enough time. And I will gloss over it by saying, one, he is looking at comparative advantage in each. Also in terms of industrialization, what Asiwaju is going to do, we're going to incentivize companies. Instead of, let's use example, I'm just using a broad example now. Instead of going to bring Toyota to Nigeria, importing it and making it so expensive, you will incentivize Toyota to come start a company in Nigeria, to build their vehicles in Nigeria, so that one, they will create jobs, they will pay taxes, and it will become cheaper. And from there, you can even become the West African or even the regional hub of Toyota manufacturing in Nigeria. So what Asiwaju has in stock is so huge. And in terms of agriculture, he's also looking at ensuring that we do not continue to be raw material producers. What do I mean by that? You cannot produce your agricultural product and export them in the raw form. You are losing so much wealth. What we are going to do is, whatever each product is used for, when you export them, you will bring in companies to Nigeria to produce such product, add value to it, so that you cannot become a net exporter. Let's use cocoa, for instance. Instead of exporting cocoa to let's say, Netherlands, and then they send you chocolate and beverages, why don't you complete the process here and then be the one to export it? So there are a lot of plans in terms of incentivizing companies and producers to make Nigeria a hub of production. So the economy will be looked into, it will be developed properly. And then one other big elephant in the room is subsidy. He has promised to remove subsidy so that we can have, we'll be able to free funds in other places. And finally, in terms of having dual exchange rate, he has said he's going to work with the people in the CBN that has crept in, that make dollar to go as high as 700 and something in the black market. So all those things are things that have been. As I speak with you, there are teams working on ensuring that these things are implemented within a certain limit of period as soon as the man is sworn in. So it's an exciting time. Every area that is really critical will be covered, will be dealt with, and I can assure Nigerians, like I said earlier on, it's an exciting time for our economy, for our security, and for our young people.
Fantastic. That was robust. All right, we've been discussing the 2023 inauguration and matters arising with a development economist and a member of the defunct APC Presidential Campaign Council, Ayobami Oyalowo. This discussion continues after this break. Please stay with us. It's always a great morning. On that break, Mr. Oyalowo, You gave a breakdown of Asiwaju's agenda for some sectors, the youth, security, education, economy. But one critical issue we have on our hands is the issue of subsidy removal, which is quite delicate, which the president-elect has promised to address. What impact do you think this will have on the country, and how do you think this should be handled to alleviate its impact on the citizens?
Well, I cannot sit here and say this is the impact it will have, because nobody knows. However, there are plans in place to mitigate the shock that it will bring to Nigerians, especially because we have been used to subsidy, and many people don't understand the problem that this subsidy has created. In the entire region, every country surrounding Nigeria today don't have subsidy. So petroleum prices are high. So what people do currently, I'm sure if you go to the record now, they will tell you we consume maybe 60 or 70 million liters per day, which I refuse to agree with do. However, most of these petrol products end up in the sub-region, in our neighboring countries. So we are bleeding the economy massively because of the greed of a few people. Many people have become multi-billionaires because of the crime-infested system of this subsidy. So what will happen is there must be a study team that will look at the impact and that will mitigate the impact, especially on the poor and the vulnerable. Remember, one of his speeches, Asiwaju said something which is key. He said he uses a huge SUV and he's a rich man. How can you expect the country to be subsidizing him in his luxurious lifestyle while other poor people don't even have vehicles, but they have to pay the subsidy too? So many people don't see this thing that, look, even though we think it is a help for the poor, it is actually cheating the poor people. So yes, there will be mitigating impact. I mean, there will be impact, but there will be mitigating conditions that the study team will look at and see. I'm sure it will be in terms of, one, ensuring that public transportation system works more adequately, and then I think there is already I think this outgoing government is already talking about salary increment for civil servants and so on and so forth. So a lot of areas will be looked into in terms of mitigating the impact of the subsidy removal. But I must tell you, it is for the good of the economy. We cannot continue to bleed this economy so that some few people can continue to become very wealthy at the detriment of the majority of the poor Nigerians who don't even enjoy the subsidy as it were.
All right. Now, away from that, many Nigerians are of the opinion that national unity and inclusion is paramount for the country at this moment. How do you think the incoming administration should handle this?
Yeah, I totally agree. National unity is very key and germane. But we cannot put it on the administration alone. Every hand must be on deck, and I will give you an example. I thank God that the person I call my father-in-law in the Lord, Pastor Adeboye, has said, Asiwaju men of God will join. In the electoral contest, there will be flared temper, frayed nerves, and all these things. After the election, what you expect people to do is to speak good word, speak calm word, try to bring people together. However, I keep saying, some men of God, or so-called, I would say, going around saying they will not recognize Asiwaju, they will recognize him, there must be no swearing. So you see, it's easy to put all the blame of the disunity on the president or the incoming administration. But the leadership in every strata of our society is at fault if we don't all come together and tell people, look, in an electoral contest, only one person will win. And when the winner has emerged, what good people do is to join hands, and the best we can do is make demands and say, look, you have won now, this is what we think you should do for us. But rather than do that, you keep going around disparaging demand, saying all manner of unprintable things. People even predicting that he's going to die. This is just, I've never seen this kind of thing in my life. So the incoming administration will do his own bit, and I will explain his own bit. by constitutional provision, he must appoint ministers from every state. I can assure you, Asiwaju will not cheat any state. He will follow the constitution and ensure every state is represented in his cabinet. That is the first step to inclusivity. The other step to inclusivity, as I mentioned it offhandedly when I was talking about his plan for all the six regions of Nigeria, the southeast, the south-south, the southwest, the northeast, the northwest, and the north central. Every region has what we have identified as a competitive advantage in terms of business and economic activity. So what Asiwaju will also do is to ensure that the plans that we have earmarked in the manifesto is pursued to a logical conclusion, so that the young people in all the regions can be involved in productive activity. When young people have jobs to do, when they are able to meet the economic demand and the economic challenges, I think they will be less prone to be used by unscrupulous elements to fight their political battles. So what Asiwaju will do is to ensure that every region, the young people are able to get what belongs to them in terms of economic empowerment. And when that is done, you will have less problem. When these old noisemakers make noise, they will just be on their own. The young people will be able to face and focus on productive activity so that they can grow their own lives and become useful members of society. So those are part of the inclusivity.
All right.
And like I said, cabinet will reflect the entire 36 states of the federation. So that is inclusion, and that is carrying everybody along. In my own estimation, everybody will be carried along, and nobody will be left behind, except for those people who have decided that they don't see good in Nigeria.
So let's talk about peace, Mr. Oyalowo, which is crucial after a divisive 2023 election. How do we ensure a sustained peaceful coexistence in this country?
Well, like I said, to ensure a sustained peaceful coexistence is a job of everybody. It is not a president's job, it's not a governor's job, it's not a local government chairman's job. It is a job for everybody, religious leaders especially, and leaders of thought. People must begin to learn to speak the right word. We cannot continue to say divisive things and then expect Asiwaju to come and solve all the problem. No. Every one of us, and I put myself in that, must learn to begin to speak peace. Because the Bible says, a calm word turneth away wrath. So every one of us involved, from political leaders to religious leaders to leaders of thought to cultural and regional leaders, everyone must ensure that we begin to talk to people that we influence, so that we must let people understand this. We don't have any other country. We are all witnessing what is going on in Sudan today. None of us want Nigeria to become a Sudan. So if we don't want problem in the country, it is behoved on us to ensure that the language of peace is what we pursue in all our daily interactions. In any country where there is contest, people will be angry, people will be excitable. But when the election has gone and has been concluded, what is left is for people to begin to speak good words. So, all right. So let's we will ensure from the aspect of Asiwaju, I have seen a man who has said is for everybody. He has said he will be the president of all Nigerians, and I think he's a man who has always kept to his word. I always use this example. When he was the governor of Lagos State, he didn't need to bring Igbos, South, and some other Yoruba from other states into his cabinet. But this man did it. His cabinet was the most diverse cabinet in the history of Nigeria. So it tells you that Asiwaju is at home with everybody. Christians, Muslim, non-religious, atheists, Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, Fulani. Asiwaju relates with everybody. So his government is a government for all Nigerians, and everybody should be rest assured that Asiwaju will not he will not go after anybody. He will work for all Nigerians, because he will become a president for every Nigerian.
All right. So let's talk about another testy decision for the country to make, which is the leadership of the 10th National Assembly. How do you think this should be handled to avoid crisis for the incoming administration?
I was hoping you were not going to ask me that question. Now you have put me on the tinder box. Anyway, I saw that the ruling party this evening released a statement and mentioned people that the party is endorsing for each position. I can only pray and hope that the lawmakers will align with the position of the National Committee of the party. Because if it is left to me, I think it should have been done in a more informal manner rather than the way it was handled. I think it wasn't well handled. However, I am not in position to really say that. As a loyal APC member, all I will do is support my party. And I pray that
how would you have
lawmakers will
what
align
method would you have
with the position of the party. I would have preferred a more informal system where people are spoken to privately and everybody carried along rather than releasing a statement and mentioning names, and then people might just want to rebel. Especially for the rep position, that might be a bit. I think the Senate position will not be as problematic. It is the rep that I'm worried about. But the only happiness I have is that if this mirrors the thought of Asiwaju, he's a good leader. He will be able to handle it, and I'm sure people will subsume their in the incoming days. The people that we too can speak with, we will speak with them. But I'm sure if everybody is spoken to like a responsible and respectable people, they will all listen, and probably most people will fall in line, hopefully.
All right, so, it's just a matter of weeks before Asiwaju takes over. For you, what kind of president will he be?
He will be a president that will serve everybody, who will bring the dividend of democracy to the poor, to the rich, to the old, and to the young. Asiwaju has proven over time that he's a leader that recognizes talent, and he will be able to identify very good hands that will help him actualize his vision for Nigeria. And like I said earlier in his manifesto, his visions are well enumerated and enunciated. Hopefully, he will get good people to man key positions and key areas to help him bring success, bring life to the vision that he has written. He followed the scripture, because I am a scripture person. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain upon table, that he may run whosoever readeth it. So he has written his vision. Our own job now, as those following him, is to help actualize those visions, and I'm sure he will identify good people that will help him to actualize and ensure that this vision is made plain to all Nigerians. So he will be a president that will be able to achieve his aim. He will be a president that will ensure that Nigerians are proud to be called Nigerians again. He will be a president that will make the weight of our international passport weighty again, respected again, and wherever we go to, Nigerians will be seen as numero uno in Africa.
Great, fantastic. Another fantastic time with you, Mr. Oyalowo. I've been speaking, or rather been discussing, the 2023 inauguration and matters arising with a development economist and a member of the defunct APC Presidential Campaign Council, Ayobami Oyalowo. Thank you very much for your submission tonight. Well appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It's really nice talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVC News NG and at Olaju.
If you want to become something, become a child again. Why be a patient? If you must worry, then worry about winning. Why worry about germs? When you come home, bring tales and stories. Why bring in germs?
Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my love.
New rubber braids from Expression, made with 100% aqua. Wow, Helen!
Sparkling clean toilet with Harpic sachet.
As they count down to the inauguration of President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu as Nigeria's 16th president continues, more and more world leaders are showing solidarity with him in recognition of his well-deserved win. The United States, United Kingdom, China, Ukraine, France, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Cuba, Nicaragua, Namibia, and a host of others have already sent in their congratulatory messages. The ECOWAS Parliament and other ECOWAS bodies, the D8, that is, the Developing Aid Organizations for Economic Cooperation, the African Union, are among organizations that have recognized Bola Tinubu's impressive win in the presidential election held on the 25th of February, 2023.
The United States congratulates the people of Nigeria, President-elect Tinubu, and all political leaders following the declaration by Nigeria's Independent National Electoral Commission